Good evening. It is evening right now, despite the sunniness of it. Feels weird. It feels like I'm playing hooky because I'm not supposed to be home when the sun's up. And yet here I am. I figured since I got home while the sun was up, I would take the Perro on a walk during the daytime. Because the Perro gets a lot of walks when it's pitch black outside, and I'm sure he'd enjoy getting a little more sunshine. Anyway, what am I going to talk about, you ask? Well, funny you should mention that, because I was accused, the merbmanson cult was accused of setting up a hit on Earl David Worden, also known as News Now Houston, preventing him from going to the Almost Park Open Carry Texas rally. And I sat befuddled by this for some time. Now I don't have any control over what any of the dipshits on Discord do. They don't do it on my server anymore. They do it other places, and I disavow everything they do because they're terrible people and they do terrible things. And, you know, even Earl is right about people from time to time. That said, I was befuddled because what possibly could the dipshits on Discord do that would get Earl arrested if he went to Almost Park? Now, picture this. Earl is going to be surrounded by people, a lot of people. Apparently 300 people showed up there. So he's going to be surrounded by people with guns and cameras. Which of these two you think is more dangerous or more useful in whatever situation Earl might find himself? You tell me. But needless to say, guns and cameras. If ever there was a place where Earl would not be forced into committing a crime or being the victim of a claim, an allegation that he was in fact perpetrating a crime, it would be there. And in fact, to the best of my knowledge, some local news outlets covered it. So not only were there cell phone cameras present, but there were also news cameras present. Well, I didn't have any answers until today. I sat there thinking to myself on my drive back home, because it was still sunny and it doesn't feel like it was after 5 o'clock. It felt like it was after 4 o'clock. So driving back and brain's still working. And I remember a video by a gentleman by the name of Pigman Jojo. If that name doesn't ring a bell to you, I don't blame you. He was a member of Open Carry Texas, not a member of the First Amendment auditing movement. Pigman Jojo was, I guess, the canary in the coal mine for Open Carry Texas. And he found out Earl Worden's past. And he told people about it. And he was surprised by some of the pushback that he got from it. And eventually he was besmirched. Whether or not the allegations that were made against him are true or not, I don't know. But he was, to the best of my knowledge, run out of Open Carry Texas. But not before he let everybody know that they had welcomed into their midst a convicted rapist who was now, since he's on their radar, they're all well aware that he's been charged with the continuous sexual molestation of a minor aged, 14 to 17 or something like that. Now, I am not the best judge of human character in the world. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not even a psychiatrist. I'm not any kind of ist. However, well, I guess I'm a statist. However, in my experience, people as a whole tend to have a very dim view of convicted rapists. They don't tend to favor sexual predators. Sexual predators tend to disrupt society in some pretty egregious ways. more so, surprisingly, than murderers. And yeah, people just don't tend to like them. They tend to shun them. They tend to really disfavor them. And I'm sure that members of Open Carry Texas are probably, for the most part, normal, sane, average human beings who share that similar societal distrust and dislike of convicted rapists. And so I would posit to you a different theory, one slightly more believable than some shit-tier family law attorney out of California organizing a hit on Earl to get him arrested in the middle of 300 people armed with cameras and guns. And my theory is this: Earl was disinvited. Earl was not invited to Open Carry Texas because he is a convicted felon, and because he is a convicted rapist, and because the optics on that are pretty shit tier. I remember there were some articles that were coming out about Open Carry Texas endorsing felons carrying firearms, or at least Grisham, Tiny Grisham, the founder of Open Carry Texas, the fake war hero and the fake expert on, what was it, counterintel? Anyway, there were some news stories, some bad press about that whole situation and about the potential of there being a rapist, an armed rapist amongst them. I mean, if there's anything that's going to drive down new members and donations, it's going to be associating with a rapist. I'm not used to those doggies being out and about, but they're very vocal. So that's my theory. My theory is he was disinvited, and he had to come up with a cover story, and the best he could do, because he is a congenital liar. However, he's not very good at it. So I'm sure the best he could do was just to say that the merbmanson cult was behind it. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Best 7 minutes of your life, I know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.